It's 28 years later. So this is the new one from Danny Boyle, written by Danny Boyle and Alex Garland. Alex Garland, I guess this is going to be a planned trilogy that connects with the original two, but this trilogy is going to tell a different story from this perspective in this time frame. This stars Aaron Taylor Johnson. I believe the kid's name is Alfie Williams, who plays Spike, the main character in the movie. Robert Fiennes is in it. Jack Connolly is in it, who was just in Sinners, did a turn in Sinners, and he was great. This movie... Oh, and Jodie Comer, who I like in almost everything except The Bike Riders. So it was so good to see her again in this. She did such a good job in this. I really enjoyed her. I like when she pops up. It was just that accent in The Bike Rider. But I walked out of this. Like, I love the first 28 days later. 28 weeks later, I like it a lot. I think it's more fun, whereas the first one is it's very auteurish, in my opinion. It's very, like, it's a movie that, in my opinion, especially for the time and how it was made and what it was made on, it sort of like propels it up a little bit in terms of what this movie was. And especially Alex Garland writing it was fantastic. 28 Weeks Later is a fun movie. I think it's a great follow-up. I think it's the reason there hasn't been another one in this long, but now we're at 28 years later with this amazing cast and the story that actually takes place 28 years after it ended, after everything popped off. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't want to give any spoilers away. I don't want to do this as a spoiler review. I want everybody to go and chance to check it out. I will touch down on some things that are maybe a little spoilerish, but I will let you know beforehand. And Paul, please do the same with yours. But guys, this is one that if you really like the original films, go check it out in theaters. If you just really enjoy a good drama, or you enjoyed anything Alex Garland has done, like Warfare had just come out, and then you had Civil War last year, things like that, I think you'll like this. Danny Boyle, the same, does really good work. So this tells the story of a family that lives on this secluded isle that has a causeway that gets flooded once the high tide comes in. So they're sort of protected away from the world, from where the entire quarantine area is the UK. They have contained everything to the UK, and now if you end up in the UK, you stay there forever. You never leave. You are now part of the quarantine land. And we find that out in this movie. But outside world is just humming and jiving and going along and doing their thing, right? So this was one that just, as it was going on, built tension really well. Aaron Taylor Johnson, who you think is the main character in this, but he's gone like maybe 35 minutes into the movie. Don't take his fate on that. Again, there's no spoilers here. But it's really, the reason he's gone is because it's focused on Spike's character, the main character, his son, played by Alfie Williams. And there's a reason it's focused on him. And I thought they did a great job. I thought they did a great job world building these, like, sort of, to call them zombies for just kind of keep up that term. Like they sort of evolved into things. They're evolving into a more of an awareness. There are leaders to the pack, and why they are leaders, like they've mutated into certain things. There's others that are just like, look like giant babies kind of rolling around, and they're like, all they can do is crawl and stuff. Like, it's kind of creepy. They do a good job with this, and, like, again, world building and what this means. The Jimmy character is an interesting one. I don't want to give anything away, but this is played by Jack Connolly's character. He's introduced in a very wicked, and I think it rivals the openings of every other movie. I thought this was a really good one, this opening. It was very tense. And then you don't see his character again to the end, because, again, it's a proposed trilogy. And there's this whole Jimmy thing where they kind of follow that DJ who was... And the reason I say this, there was a DJ in the UK who was very popular. His name is Jimmy too. I can't remember what his last name was. Blonde hair, tracksuits and stuff. He always did charities, but then you found out he was like one of the most prolific SA abusers of all time in the UK, especially of kids and women. Well, when this movie would have ended, nobody would have known about that with him, because, like, where this movie picks up, because when everything popped off, nobody knew that about it. That documentary and stuff hadn't come out yet. And there's an element to this where he's almost revered, and I think it's to set up something that's going to be really interesting in the next one. This is a theory. That's all I'm throwing out there. I think because they use that, they're giving a false sense of like safety. So when we go into this next one, I think things are going to really pop off crazily. I'm not a huge fan of this. Is why it's 3.5 and not a 4, in my opinion. I'm not a huge fan of movies are setting up other movies, and that's exactly what this is doing. That's why I like the other two. They're not setting anything up. It's just kind of continuing. this does continue, but it is trying to push things off. And honestly, sometimes it feels like it's like you're not showing us something to save it for your next movie. And I don't appreciate that. Let it all out here and then tell your next movie. But we shall see how it goes. 3.5 out of 5 mics for me. I love this movie. Paul, what did you think?
So we kind of differ a little bit. I thought I was watching an Ari Aster movie for a majority of it, and that's not what I wanted out of this trilogy, if you will. There were some cool camera shots, there were cool angles, but I feel like this was a drama with zombies in the background. I didn't think they did enough compared to 28 Days Later, 28 Years Later. I don't like a lot of change when the formula was working great for the first two, especially 28 Days Later. And I thought they added too many, without spoilers, added too many elements that there wasn't enough explanation for. And so, I don't want to say nonsensical, but just things where I was like, where are we going with it? I get you're telling a message, and I understand how Alex Garland is, and I'm not saying he's not a great writer because he's phenomenal. I will, hands down, you are phenomenal. It just didn't click with me with this one.
I get that.
So I've told people, I'm like, do you like Ari Aster? Yeah, okay. I'm like, cool. I was like, did you see Clockwork Orange? Yeah. I was like, all right, well, the last 3 minutes are kind of like a scene out of Clockwork Orange with some zombies, so you'll have fun. Yeah. But honestly, it just there were a lot of plot holes for me. And it's hard to say without spoilers, so forgive me, you guys. But this was when I rated it, I said it was a 2.5 for me. I get that. I won't say it's the worst, but I don't. 28 Days Later was like one of the first zombie movies my dad and I watched together. We saw 28 Weeks together, so it's deep rooted that I love. It's my favorite zombie most believable one, and I just felt kind of let down after all this time with this. It's just not what I wanted as far as these went. I wanted more of the others.
I agree with you. I think it's because of why I took points off. I think it's because of setting it up. Everything you just said hits the nail on the head. It's like it didn't feel like its own movie. Yeah. And again, I'm trying not to, I'd set up the Jimmy thing, but that was a little ridiculous. But I do think that it was ridiculous.
I was like, what just happened?
I mean, not to spoil it, they're sort of everybody. That's all.
In tracksuits.
So but when I watch stuff like this, I look at it and I'm like, I got to remember, A, it's the UK. B, things cut off at 2003. The tracksuits are very UK thing, very hooligan thing. And especially the Jimmy thing, playing up that DJ. Again, I can't remember his name. They did a Netflix docu on him and stuff. But I think it was supposed to be they're revering him because they all look around the same age. Yeah. So I'm wondering if however it sort of played out, however this group came together, which we're going to find out, and Jack Connolly's at the center of it, is going to be a major turning point for the future. That is in itself, the fact that we have to do it that way is what bothers. Yeah. So I agree with you on that. I get a 2.5. I do. If you're a major fan, I'm not a huge fan of this franchise. Gotcha. So if you're that close to it, I could see why it would be as much of a let. That's our review of 28. So that's all our reviews, 28 years later. And we're going to get to our top 5. And we figured since we did 28 years later,